I think it may be official. I think the audio's fixed. Immediately on Urzikstan, I was hearing people. We were in a building fighting this other team. A teammate was calling out this guy upstairs. I heard him. You could hear jumping. I was running around on metal and I'm hearing somebody else run. I'm like, I think this guy's above me. I run out. He's above me. He's shooting at me. Super clear. Heard everything.
Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner? Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast, episode number 383. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, I am joined by Tanner, and we have an episode for you. We've got some patch notes to go over, and they are exactly the patch notes we wanted. No more and no less. So that's good. And some other things to get into as well. This will be a very good little download for you guys that want to stay abreast on Call of Duty metas and patch notes and changes and things you should be looking out for. Because that's what we do here. You know? So anyways, welcome to the show. Today, we have a good episode planned, and we've got some announcements before we get started. First and foremost, welcome to our new gold patrons, Caden L, Colton M, Jesse M, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, probably, but that's not what it says there. Welcome aboard, boys, and probably a boy, Jesse. Oh, you're a boy. Boy's weird. I've said boy too much.
Yes, just stop.
It's odd that you can say your boys. Well, you can say your boy too, I guess. Going to the range with my boy. Sounds different though. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Welcome to the show. And welcome to our new gold patrons. And thank you for signing up, patreon.com/thedropshot. Also, we had another gold patron who signed up earlier, right? And he was like, I'm going to do a monthly bill. Let's not get crazy. Because I don't know if it's worth it or not to be a gold patron. And what I imagine happened, this is a dramatic reenactment, is, oh my goodness, I can't believe how much value the Patreon is providing me. Let me just lock this in for a year to get a discount of 12 and or 16%. Because now I know it's worth it and I'm in it for the long haul, baby. And upgrading to annual gold, Garch, change it. Welcome aboard, buddy. Glad you've enjoyed it so much that you went straight to annual king. We appreciate you. Patreon.com/thedropshot. Now, speaking of the Patreon, it was a great time for these people to sign up. And it would be an even greater time for the rest of you listening to sign up, because we just released our latest Patreon bonus episode, which was our first ever Warzone brainstorm post-integration. And I thought it went very well. It was a little unusual for our brainstorms because we did have some ideas to like try out, and that is kind of the goal of the brainstorms, is to like think of a lot of new things to try out and then try them and report back later, or things we've already tried and then we report on that in a subsequent brainstorm or whatever. This brainstorm had some of that, but a lot of it was just kind of like what we've been doing now. It's so new that like everything's a brainstorm, really. So we were talking about like our strategies. where we've been dropping, what we've been doing early game, what we've not been doing, etc. And I enjoyed it. And we've already gotten some feedback that it was a good, solid little episode. And that's now live for all of our patrons. What did you think of that little Warzone brainstorm? This was Urzikstan Big Map brainstorm, by the way.
Yeah. I thought it was good. Talked a lot about perks.
Perks too,
how they relate to like vest and everything, equipment. Honestly, a lot of the things we talked about just already changed today. Like breacher drones, we talked about those. Those were nerfed today. We'll get into it. But yeah, another big one was audio. Talking about running flex for the audio. The audio is perfect and fixed now, so I don't even think we're gonna need that either. So that's gonna probably open up the fourth perk for people to start running high alert more often, ghost, whatever you want, or resolute if you're really bad. Sure, run resolute in my lobbies. But yeah, I thought that was a banger. I'm excited to do. Aren't we doing a resurgence one, or is that publicly? Did we decide? When are we doing that one?
We did decide, although I don't remember what we decided.
I don't know, but regardless, I'm excited for that episode to play some resurgence now and get into that brainstorm.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So we made it an explicit point in that brainstorm episode we did, by the way, to keep it Urzikstan Big Map BR only. And I'm pretty sure this is the case. One of our next bonus episodes for this month on the Patreon is going to be a Resurgence exclusive brainstorm, because Resurgence plays a lot differently than Big Map, obviously. So like there are different perks that are in play or potentially in play, different weapons setups, even like, for example, a loud boss B with a red dot. I'm probably not using that on Big Map, but I was using it on Resurgence and we were doing very well with it. So there are like a lot of differences there, even like equipment. I think there's a way better argument for throwing knives in Resurgence. And then in like conjunction with Quick Fix, like, is that worth it over Tempered? Like there are a lot of differences with Resurgence and regular BR. And I know a lot of you guys listening are like Resurgence mains. So particularly with Fortune's Keep coming up sometime soon, Rebirth Island later this year, Resurgence is going to make its resurgence, and we are going to start with a little brainstorm on that on the Patreon as well this month. So for all of you patrons, or maybe if you're a prospective patron, keep your eyes out for that. That will be one of our bonus episodes this month as well. And then on a Saturday episode soon, I think this Saturday actually, we are going to do Resurgence first impressions or something. I think that's the plan. Because we have been playing a fair amount of Resurgence, and particularly with Urzikstan Resurgence, that's a whole other can of worms. Because it's basically like 3 new Resurgence maps we've gotten. Because Urzikstan Resurgence rotates between like 3 POIs for the Resurgence play space, which is a really cool idea, which we already talked about like last week, I think. So a lot of good stuff coming there, but that Warzone Urzikstan brainstorm is now live. You guys can go listen to it. I already have a lot of new ideas that I want to try, by the way. I was in the Fire group chat having a conversation with the boys, and I thought of something, and I was like, if I'm running Quick Fix, even on Urzikstan, I'm probably going to be at full health sooner, even though I have to insert 3 plates, than if I were running Tempered. Because with Tempered, yeah, I'm fully plated sooner, but by the time I'm fully plated, I could still be one-shot flesh damage. So maybe Quick Fix, in general, is a faster full heal than Tempered. And maybe that's better even on Big Map. Let's talk about it. That's something I think that warrants more discussion, for example. I'm not necessarily settled on that or anything, but there are a lot of new things to talk about with a Big Map brainstorm as well. I would expect another one of those probably next month also. And that's doubly true with the changes we're going to talk about today. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Dropshot.
Yeah, I did run Quick Fix on a Chica this morning. something is bugged with it. Because I would start plating and my screen would still be black for a while, like when you're low health. So either that's bugged and I'm regenning, but I can't tell because like my screen and audio is still blurred, or it's actually just not starting as when it's supposed to be or something. Something is definitely not right with it though.
Interesting.
Like it was like noticeably a lot worse than it's been in Warzone 2. So I think it is bugged in some capacity to use it more and actually like really pay attention to the bar.
Yeah, I haven't experimented with it yet, but I did see that you were saying that in response to my idea in the fire group chat on that. So, yeah, but anyway, other than that, announcements, Damascus Hangout tomorrow, the 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you are a Damascus patron by then, make sure you link your Discord and Patreon accounts. You can see our Discord new patron onboarding for how to do that. It's very easy. And then be there. We might do some customs. We'll see. And then, you know, hang out, do some other fun stuff. Should be a good little time. Getting into the Christmas spirit. I'll be sure to ask you guys what you asked Santa for Christmas. And more. And we'll drink and we'll be merry. I got a breathalyzer. So I plan on drinking and using that for the first time tomorrow. I'm excited about that. Little professional breathalyzer is what it said.
I had 3 whiskey sours last night during our Age of Empires conquest. Yeah.
3, huh?
Yeah.
Were they heavy pours?
3 over a few hours. They're standard 2-ounce pours.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't drink. Got it. So.
Okay.
All right, if you're listening for the jingle, here it is. Let's get this show on the road. By the way, if you're listening and Tanner's mic sounds bad, that's because my internet is being terrible right now. My upload is totally fine. My download is not. So Tanner's video is laggy. His voice is like a little tiny bit robotic. That shouldn't be an issue next time, but there's been storms around me, so I think that's just kind of messing up the internet.
So for the recording that we upload to YouTube, I'm going to be all laggy too, right?
Yeah. It's not that bad, but yeah.
I mean, the video lag it's constant. It's very bad. I don't know about the audio. The audio.
If you want, I can restart my internet. I just don't. I'm not sure it's going to help.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know it's annoying to look at, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, the audio is not as bad as the video, though. So, anyway. Welcome to the show. So, today, Warzone. Oh, wait. Whoa. Whoa, Nelly.
What did you do, man?
I didn't have my numlock on. All right. So, we got some patches, starting with patch notes changed already in effect. And this is exactly what we wanted. These patches came today, December 14th. They have split up their patch notes into 2 separate little articles. One of which is on multiplayer / zombies, and the other one on Warzone specifically. So we will start with the multiplayer / zombies post. These patches were today, the 14th of December. And they are not big. Neither of these patches, or this patch, was not very big, but it was important. So let's get into it. First of all, for multiplayer here, some stability fixes, blah, blah, blah. One of the RAM barrels that wasn't equipable now should be equipable. Breacher drone lethal. So this is going to show up again in Warzone, so we'll just talk about this now, but this applies to Warzone and multiplayer and zombies. Improved impact detection to prevent inflicting more explosive damage to players than intended. So, I think earlier this week, Raven said they are looking into the breacher drones doing more damage than intended. Now, based on this patch note, what I think that means is the breacher drones before this patch were probably doing direct impact damage even if they weren't directly impacting other players, and that's why they were so effective. So if I threw a breacher drone and I threw it at Tanner, say, but it went past Tanner by like 6 inches. Instead of actually gliding past him, it would detonate anyway, and it would do the same amount of damage as if I had literally direct impacted him with it. Therefore, it was doing more damage than intended, but they didn't like reduce the direct impact damage. They just made it such that you only get direct impact damage on an actual direct impact now. You're not going to get it by just getting close to someone, which I think is a good change. Because I don't think breacher drones are wildly overpowered or anything. I think if you get direct impacted, you should be downed. Just like if you get stuck with a Semtex, you should be downed. But I also don't think you should be downed just by being close. You know, it should do a lot of splash damage depending on the radius, like any other explosive. But it should obviously be giving direct impact damage if it's not direct impacting. And that is now fixed. That's how I'm interpreting this patch note. Do you think I'm right about that? That was the issue?
Yeah. I think you're right. And you're still, I think, going to get a lot of direct impacts, though. So I feel like they may still have to lower the overall damage that it does. Because, like, think about when you use them. It's, like, always in a doorway. And it's usually people are, like, running past it or somebody's coming out of a door and you throw it. So I feel like a lot of times you are actually getting direct impacts with it anyways. So I don't know. We'll have to try it and see. But, like, yesterday, we were playing trios. And I got a squad wipe on a 3-man inside of a room by throwing 2 of these. And both of them definitely direct impacted people. Like in a situation like that, I don't even know if this nerf would even change anything. Because I could see them running back and forth and they were like all together. So it for sure direct impacted 2 of them. So I don't know. Honestly, they may still be way too good, but we'll have to see.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm fine with it, though. I think they're still fun. And like, you know, you can't, like, Semtexes and, you know, like, nades you can throw on rooftops. You can't do that with these, but maybe they're not that balanced. Because even, like, behind a rock or something, you get hit markers with them. But, okay, so that would help with that. That's one thing that always happens. Like, somebody's behind a piece of cover and you throw one, and it does a ton of damage. That won't happen anymore. So, yeah, maybe they are pretty balanced.
Yeah.
Because that's how we would use them all the time. I'd throw, like, one on each side of a rock where I knew a guy was, and you'd get... you'd crack him usually and get him like one shot. So
yeah. I guess we'll have to see how they perform now after this change, but I like that they didn't just like totally ruin it. At least I don't think they did. Based on this patch note, they didn't. It's my opinion that if you get direct impacted by a breacher drone and you don't have EOD, you should be downed at full health. That should do 300 damage. Don't get direct impacted by explosives. That's pretty simple to me. Whereas if you have EOD, it should make you quite weak, but not kill you. But if you don't get direct impacted, if you're at full health, that shouldn't be a down. Even if it's very close to you. It should do a lot of damage, but not kill you. So, I don't know. Yeah. We'll see how it works, but this is a good start. Because they were over-tuned. They were extremely effective, so that's good.
Yeah.
Next is customization. So this is a bunch of bundle stuff that we're not going to cover. And then some multiplayer UI bug fixes, which is fine. Bugs related to the UI, whatever. Finally. Oh, is that one of the things?
That was a bug for way too long.
That was a bug since day like 2 or 3. Literally.
I don't know if it was that long. I think it was like a week and a half or 2 weeks, maybe. I don't know.
I remember. Because I was only playing War like very early on when you were on break. And that's when it broke. Or was broken.
Way too long for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. Regardless, it was way too long. So that's good if that's finally fixed. And then, yeah, some other little UI fixes. This next one's pretty big. And we were expecting this, and we've finally gotten it. Challenges that require enemy equipment to be destroyed, such as the Platinum Launcher Challenge, for those of you still doing your camo grind, will now progress upon the destruction of field upgrades. So now you don't have to beg people to place claymores and prox mines, since that's the only thing that will count. Now you can destroy people's comm scrambler, deployable cover, munis, portable radars, etc. And if you're running engineer and playing any game mode, especially like war where there are more people, or like 10v10 or 12v12 mosh pit, that's going to make that challenge way more palatable. This is how it should have worked in the first place. Now it does. So huge W there for you camo grinders. I'm not aware of any other gun camo challenge that requires destruction of equipment, but probably the new Stormender also requires this, so that's good.
Maybe too I don't know how that works, because I was gonna say the MW2 launchers, because you can't you do the mastery MW2 camos inside of MW3?
You can.
So
that's a good point. I wonder if those
probably
count.
do with these as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they still haven't said if any of the bugs where you can do this in private matches is fixed. I would assume it is at this point, but they have not said. So I really wonder if you can just do like launcher double kills and all that inside of private.
Still, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm really surprised we haven't heard about that yet.
Yeah. And then the next point on this is fix several challenges where progression wasn't tracking. So if you were stuck on a particular camo challenge because it was bugged, maybe that's fixed now. That's good. And then moving on from there, you can't use the ray gun in multiplayer anymore. People are exploiting that, I guess. The war mode eliminated 2 out-of-map exploits, one of which is where they were getting on one of the roofs that was extremely tall, and you could even like walk to the cliff. That was unintentional, not surprising, and they've supposedly fixed that bug/exploit. And then the other one is where people were glitching underneath the map in the tank section and being able to kill people and being unkillable. Shout out to Bjorn. So those two bugs, which basically ruined that mode, among other changes that they've still never addressed, by the way, which is changing the defender lines. Those 2 bugs at least are fixed, so that's good. I'm kind of surprised it took this long, but cool. Again, for you camo grinders, this is a good thing, because war mode is really good for most of the camo challenges, honestly.
A lot of things, yeah.
Maybe all of them.
A lot of things.
Like, yeah, it's really good.
A lot, yeah. Long shots in that middle area. I think it's great for like the tactical affected kills, because you can flank people and get on their side so easily. I think it's really good for a ton. Yeah.
So war should be more palatable now, which is good. And then a couple other changes here. TDM and kill confirmed, score limits raised for 12s, 10s, and small maps like shipment and meat, I'm assuming that means. Private matches now have CDL rules enabled, and they are accurate to the competitive settings now. So if you're a sweat nerd, then there you go. And then this is another thing they were talking about in that Reddit AMA. Ghost, the gear perk in multiplayer. People were complaining it wasn't good enough because it only worked while moving, but you had to constantly be moving to stay off radar. Now, players can be stationary for up to 2 seconds before the anti-radar effects are disabled while using the Ghost perk. So now there's some leeway, and you can like stop and aim for a second with Ghost equipped and still remain off UAV and stuff. And I think 2 seconds is about right. Maybe a little long, but probably fine. Because 2 seconds, keep in mind, in FPS time is a long time. 1/1000, 2/1000. Like that's, you could kill like 5 people with a magazine in that time. So like that's a generous enough amount of time, but I don't think it's too insane or anything. So that's a good change there as well, I think. Yeah. And then beyond that, some zombies changes. I'm not going to talk about any of these because we have not played zombies yet, but it doesn't look like much. A little mission adjustment, a contract adjustment, the Aether Worm adjustment, and then some stability and UI fixes.
The crashing issue, yeah.
So good stuff there. That's pretty much it, dude. By the way, on a barely related note, I really want Borealis, man, and it's pissing me off that I don't have it.
Do you?
And I might actually grind for it. Yeah.
You won't, but that's interesting you're saying that. Yeah.
I saw OP Marked playing solos when I was watching him last night, and he had Interstellar on his primary and Borealis on his secondary, and I was so jealous.
Yeah.
He also had a top 250 calling card and emblem, so I think I'll get those first, and then I'll go for Borealis, because I was jealous of all of it.
Yeah, you could do that.
But Borealis, I think, is going to take me a little while. That's going to be kind of a grind. The calling card and stuff is fine, but
you're not going to do it. Yeah. So
you don't think I will?
I don't think you will.
You don't think I'll get bored up?
I really don't think so. It's a longer grind than Stellar, so I don't think you will.
Probably not. If it's longer than Interstellar, probably not.
It's hours longer, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I won't get it. Let's be honest, I'm not going to get it, yeah.
You could actually just edit all of that out, because you just lied to everybody.
I certainly could. I won't, but I could. I have Borealis, by the way. I will edit all that out, but I do have Borealis. All right, next. Let's get into the Warzone portion of today's patch notes. December 14th, Thursday. So, this is what we've all been waiting for, or many of us have been waiting for. These changes apply to Warzone. So some stability and performance fixes, I guess.
These are the same ones we read from multiplayer. Those are the global ones. Go down to where it says
Yeah,
Warzone.
this is all stuff we've already covered. So yeah. So Warzone in particular, BR, strongholds. A black site key will only be rewarded the first time a stronghold is completed. Subsequent captures by other squads will not reward a key. K. Resurgence. Urzikstan Resurgence. So people were confused about this. They cleared it up on Twitter. If you were playing Urzikstan Resurgence, Resurgence would disable sooner than Ashika or Vondel Resurgence. It would disable at the end of Circle 2 instead of the end of Circle 3. Now, Urzikstan Resurgence, the rebirth, the resurgence timer thing, where it's like no more resurging or whatever, that now ends or disables at the same time on all maps. So that's good. They should have been clear about this in the patch notes, but now the timing of when resurgence disables on Urzikstan is the same as it is on Ashika and Vondel and etc. So that's good. And then a couple of public event changes. This is for Urzikstan Resurgence. Disabled the chance of occupation scan event in Circle 2, as it could conflict with the loadout drop, which remains. That's a good idea. That would be annoying to have both. Disable the chance of cash drops during infill, because during certain scenarios it may cause issues. Okay. I wonder what that means. The chances for a public event to occur in later circles has been adjusted. That implies to me that the chances for a public event to occur in later circles has been increased. I don't know why they would say adjusted.
Yeah,
there.
Why would they not just say, yeah?
Weird. But yeah. I would assume that means more events. Late game Urzikstan Resurgence. So, solid changes there. I have nothing to really add. That's good, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, there we go. And then, weapons. So there's a little blurb here. I'm going to read this. Looking at the breadth of weapons and attachments on offer, some outliers were performing above expectation. You don't say. Hey, you don't say. By the way, for those of you who are in our Discord, first of all, if you're not, join the Discord. Join the gosh dang Discord. Number 1, links are everywhere. Number 2, we have a clips channel. Number 3, I finally messed around and set up my replay buffer. So I will be spamming our Discord with middling clips of my Warzone gameplay, to be clear.
Yeah, spamming. Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say. Shout out to the WWF, not the WWE. Real ones will remember. Go to the clips channel in Discord and find one of the recent clips I posted of the MTZ Interceptor. I mount up. There's two people on a different rooftop. They have 1 pixel showing. Sick head glitch, sick map, by the way. But I had an interceptor. So even the insane head glitches couldn't overcome how broken this gun was. And maybe still is. We'll get into it. I 2-tap one guy. I look at the next guy. I 2-tap him because only their heads are showing. Team wipe inside of 10 seconds. Hey, that shouldn't be possible. Super broken. Super broken and disgusting and dumb. And I laughed hard in the clip.
Yeah.
You guys should go watch it. Join the Discord to see it. Anyways, all of that is to say, yeah, there were some outliers performing above expectation, Raven, for sure. And this change, frankly, is a little too late for me, but it's soon enough because at least it's before winter break. So moving on back to the blog post.
Yeah.
We have taken immediate steps to mitigate them to support a healthy engagement experience through the holiday break. So they're explicitly saying, once again, listen, this might not be perfect, but we at least need to tone these down before we're gone for the next month. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate what they're doing and that they're being upfront about it. This is a good sign. Shout out to Raven. So let's get into some specifics. What were some of the broken guns? I think they hit all of them. So starting out with ARs, the DG56, Modern Warfare 3 burst fire assault rifle with no recoil. This was performing above expectations for sure. One of the overpowered guns. The max damage of this gun is now 32 instead of 40. This is the most... Okay, because the DG56 is a long-range gun. People were using this as their primary. So reducing the max damage for a lot of gunfights doesn't actually matter that much. Because keep in mind, max damage means damage within the first damage range of your gun. So if you build a meta DG56 with like a barrel and a suppressor, that's probably, I don't know, I'd have to look at the numbers on like True Game Data or something, but that's probably what, 35 meters maybe? A lot of times you're using this gun, you're shooting outside of that damage range. So this nerf doesn't affect gunfights outside of that first damage range, as far as I can tell. However, 40 to 32 max damage range reduction, or max damage reduction, is a big nerf. I will also add that in my experience, my considerable experience since the integration, playing a lot of Warzone, most of the time I got absolutely melted by the DG56 was actually quite close and inside the first damage range. So I think this nerf actually might be enough. I wasn't getting like destroyed by a DG56 across the map ever, unlike the MTZ Interceptor, for example. So I think this nerf actually might have been enough, but I'm not positive about that. But it's definitely enough inside of its first damage range. So yeah, something to keep in mind there. The next...
Yeah, I think it'll be enough.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, but you were gone. You think this is good?
Yeah, I think this will be good.
Because you don't die to a DG56 far away, right? Am I right about that?
It's kind of hard to say. I really haven't been dying to them at all because it's been just the MTZ. So hard to say, but when more people were using them, it did seem always around like 30, 40 meters. So maybe outside of that, actually. But yeah, I think this will be good.
Okay. So moving on is the FR556 from MWIII. I've never seen this gun used before, but its max damage was also reduced to 35 from 43. So maybe they anticipated people were going to try switching to that, but they nerfed that preemptively as well. And for the same reason, I think that's probably fine. Moving on to some even more dominant guns. The Boss B battle rifle. This was in pretty much everyone's loadout as either a primary or an SMG. Kind of like the FFAR once upon a time. Really busted. Max damage reduced to 35, down from 39. So that's going to affect those SMG builds where people were using, by people I mean me also, by the way, MTZ Interceptor primary, Boss B secondary. The max damage nerf affects that. That's a big deal. That's a good nerf. 35 to 39 or 39 to 35, probably good enough. I don't know. I haven't looked at numbers, but that's definitely increasing your shots to kill. Unless you're hitting all headshots, in which case you're cheating anyway, and I'm going to lose anyway. In addition, the minimum damage. So this is affecting the long range builds where you're shooting at people at your farthest damage range, was reduced to 25, down from 27. So that's a smaller nerf, but for a Boss B, you're not hitting all your shots at your minimum damage range anyway. So I think a lesser nerf is warranted there. Is this enough? I suspect probably. This gun's probably still good, but it's not going to be broken anymore. That's the impression I get. Exactly. But again, I don't know for sure yet. I haven't, crunched the numbers and or played the video game. What do you think?
I think it's still going to be a meta gun probably, but it just won't be broken anymore. Because these numbers are far less substantial than like the burst guns.
Yeah.
So I think this will still be in the mix. Take an extra bullet to kill though. Still be one of the top dogs, I believe.
But that's what we would want. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to take it out of the meta. You don't have to ruin the gun.
I like the gun
Just make
a lot.
It balanced.
I'm totally good with the Bass B meta. Just needed a little nerf.
Yeah. So solid change there on paper. Next is handguns. So some akimbo nerfs. The akimbo Core 45 was absolutely pooped, farted, and peed on. Max damage reduced to 30 from 45. Every pistol akimbo shot you hit is max damage range, by the way, because you're only using them up close. So that is a gigantic nerf. And these are almost certainly not worth using now, which I'm frankly fine with.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah. And then the Renetti akimbo, same deal. Max damage 22 from 33. So again, destroyed. In addition, the headshot multiplier on the akimbo Renettis was also nerfed, 1.2 instead of 1.4. I'm fine with this as well. So.
Yeah, I've yet to run into anyone using them. I've seen videos of them. I've heard them being good, but I've never gone up against it. So
yeah,
I don't have much to say, but it does seem like they needed a nerf. Yeah.
From the clips, I'm with you. I never died to this, but I did see some TikToks, some Twitter clips, and they looked really broken. So yeah, I'll take this for sure. They just always lack. They're always going to lack versatility. That's why I guess I didn't see it. I haven't seen them very much, but yeah, good nerfs there. And now moving on to marksman rifles. So we got a couple marksman rifles here. The DM56, which some people were experimenting with, but they kind of got off of it when they learned about the MTZ Interceptor, which we'll get into, but was still quite good. Max damage 41 from 50. So it's a big change there. And then minimum damage 37 from 39. Sensible. Seems good. Seems like it would still be usable, but not insane anymore. And that's
it's not
fine.
Gonna fry up close.
Yeah. And keep in mind, marksman rifles use sniper ammo in Warzone. They don't use AR ammo. That makes them a lot more annoying to use. You need to find a lot of sniper ammo.
Yeah, you got to put it in your backpack, and stacks are only 40 stacks. So yeah, you run out of ammo quickly. You need to hold on to munis constantly, especially with this. This would be a lot worse because the fire rate's insane, and it requires more shots to kill. So you'd be just throwing ammo downrange, and burning through it.
Yeah. So that was nerfed. The KVD Enforcer headshot multiplier is 1.8 from 2.2. Okay. Don't have much to say there. Next is the tier akimbo, the pistols. I don't know why they put this in the marksman rifle category because it's not one. But the akimbo magnum, max damage 70 from 120. So just another nerf to akimbo pistols. I don't know why they put it here, but... And then last and most importantly, I would argue this and the Boss B were by far the most dominant guns before these nerfs. The MTZ Interceptor. Headshot multiplier reduced to 1.5 down from 2. So the problem with the MTZ Interceptor was that if you hit one headshot, you would do 190 damage. So then all you needed was a chest shot to get it down. On a semi-auto, low recoil, marksman rifle.
Yeah.
It was really broken and cheesy, and it felt very cheap dying in 2 bullets to it. Now, it did require a headshot, but it was still obviously overpowered. Now that multiplier is 1.5. So instead of 190 damage, it's going to be like 143, 142, something like that. So that means you will need 1 headshot and 2 chest shots to get it down instead of just a 2-shot kill. A 2-shot kill is not possible on someone fully plated anymore. That's the big change here, which I think is a good nerf for sure.
Yeah. And because you were constantly getting 2-tapped too when you were on a head glitch. So if somebody could just see my head, you were getting 2-tapped all the time and they weren't even missing a shot. So it'd be like they would fire 2 shots total and you'd be down. It was insane. So this will make it so they have to hit at least 3.
Yeah, which is substantially more difficult. Like you'll have time. Like again, in that clip I was talking about earlier, like those guys, I'm not like bragging about this. It was just the gun is so broken because all that's showing is their head and the gun has so little recoil. They don't have time to react. That's why it was a team wipe. I shoot the guy once. By the time he realizes he's getting shot, my second shot's already coming out down. There's like nothing you can do. But if it requires 3 bullets, that's enough time to like react at least, you know?
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be enough of a nerf. Some people in our Discord were saying they weren't sure it was enough. I completely disagree. It might still be a viable gun, but I don't think it's going to be broken anymore. And that's, again, like we were saying about the Boss B, exactly what we want. I don't want you ruining guns. I just want you balancing them. So, like, if this is still in the meta, if this is still A tier, that's fine. As long as it's not overpowered, which it used to be, and I don't think it will be anymore. So.
Yeah, it seems like it'll still be viable for really good players, but probably one of those guns where they're going to get off it as well and just use something full auto that's easier to use.
And less annoying with the ammo thing, too.
Yeah. So there's probably still people running this today. My guess is in like a few days, you probably just won't see it anymore, even though it's still going to be a good gun, I'm sure.
That's my suspicion as well. Yeah. So moving on, the Haymaker was also nerfed a lot. Max damage, 36 from 52. Wow. So I heard a couple people talking about this, although I never saw it myself, but that was nerfed.
It didn't even see that good from when I watched people using it. I don't know.
Yeah,
didn't seem that good.
It just lacks versatility. Shotguns have to be really good, or you have to be on a very particular map, I think, for them to be like worth using. Like I'm never using this on Urzikstan, you know. It has to be like really overpowered. Or have very good range, which the Haymaker I don't think ever did. But yeah, now it's like, again, even less worth using. And then the Fennec 45 from MWIII. Some people were using this a lot, and I guess it was pretty busted as well. Max damage, 22 from 25, so a nerf there. Headshot multi reduced as well, and then lower torso multi reduced also. This gun is chalked for sure. not worth using anymore. I don't know how overpowered it was. I just saw a couple people posting a clip here and there saying it was quite good. But yeah. I mean, with how good the striker is and how versatile it is, I would never consider using a Fennec from MW2, especially now. So
yeah, no, I'm glad this we don't need a Fennec meta at all anymore. We're all scarred from the launch of Warzone 2.
Super done with that.
Literally 4 bullets from like 40 meters. They were so broken.
Yeah.
I still can't believe Warzone 2 launched the way it did.
Yeah.
God, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anybody listening, you should go back, just like find somebody's day one Warzone stream and just look at how bad the game was. Oh my God. I can't believe they thought that game was ready to go live. It's insane to me.
Yeah, it wasn't good that they did that. It was not good that they did that. Yeah. So, and then moving on, the next section is titled Audio. So, we've seen this before. We've heard this before. Let's see what they have to say. All modes, rebalanced, first person and enemy footstep audio. First person, I'm assuming, means your footsteps. Well, that is what it means. So rebalanced your footstep audio, so ostensibly made those quieter, and enemy footstep audio, hopefully, made those louder. They also wrote a lot of words, big words about this, and I'm going to read them. Here's their little blurb. Since the launch of Season 1 last week, we've been actively listening to player feedback regarding audio concerns in Warzone, especially related to footsteps. And there were a lot of concerns. We voiced them. Everyone's voiced them. You guys probably have as well. If you've played Warzone, you've probably noticed this. This initial update is aimed at addressing part of these concerns and enhancing the overall experience before we head into the holidays. When making changes such as this, there's a complex mix of variables we need to meticulously look at and consider. One of the primary factors to consider is the fidelity of the experience across our titles to avoid too large a gap between Warzone, multiplayer, and zombies. So they don't want Warzone footsteps to sound wildly different than multiplayer or zombies. I kind of understand that, but that also annoys me. Be willing to do that. But either way, either way, let's continue. Beyond that, changes to things like occlusion, fall off distance, first person versus third party balance, or specific perk mechanics like the flex perk or bone conduction headset can have ripple effects due to the sheer number of interacting and overlapping sounds in a BR match. Please know that we're committed to ongoing improvements and to ensuring that players can fully immerse themselves in the game while maintaining a competitive edge. Your continued constructive feedback is appreciated, and we'll continue to work toward making Warzone the best it can be on every front. So, basically what they're trying to say is, we made footstep audio better. You should be able to hear other people better now, but we're going to keep looking into it and keep working on it. Now, Tanner, you have done some official playtesting on this topic.
I've playtested, yeah.
Tell us more about that.
I think it may be official. I think the audio is fixed. So the real test will be playing Battle Royale. I did not play any Battle Royale. I played Resurgence. I played one quick match of Urzikstan and one match of Ashika. Immediately on Urzikstan, I was hearing people. We were in a building fighting this other team. My teammate was calling out this guy upstairs. I heard him. You could hear jumping. I heard somebody I was running around on metal and I'm hearing somebody else run. I'm like, I think this guy's above me. I run out. He's above me. He's shooting at me. Super clear. Heard everything. Went to Ashika. Landed at, I don't remember what the POI is called. Right by the market, that building with the roof that we always land at. It's like an apartment complex. Anyways.
Yeah.
We landed there. My team, we were fighting. Everything in that area, I could hear everybody coming at me. So if I was outside that building pushing up to it, I could hear them moving around inside. I would kill somebody. I'd be running away, reloading. I could hear the guy chasing me from behind me. So I was able to, turn around real quick, slide, kill that guy. Then I was fighting 4 people over by the little market. And you really don't understand how much different the game plays when you've been stuck with really bad audio for the last week. like, or 2 weeks, however long it's been. It is huge in just fighting teams. So like it felt like Warzone 1 or even how Warzone 2 ended, where you're fighting some guy, you down him, you throwing knife him, I'm low health, so I'm running away plating, I hear somebody chasing me. I mean, you hear everything. I was hearing all of it. I never ran into a person that I didn't get an audio cue for. So I would say for the most part, it's probably fixed. The things that still won't work, like Lag pointed out in the Fire group chat, he said like zip lines still don't work. They've never worked in Warzone and they never will. So I don't expect those to, unfortunately. So those aren't going to work. What else doesn't usually work?
Ladders and parachutes probably will never be audible.
I was hearing parachutes. That was the other thing. That surprised me, actually. I was hearing parachutes, yeah.
Oh my goodness, I would
love
that.
And so the biggest thing is your footstep audio is noticeably a lot quieter, too. So it's just less annoying running around, not hearing your own feet stomp, because that was very frustrating and not good to listen to. So yeah, I think they solved the issues. Like, just from those 2 Resurgence games, they can never change anything again, and I think I'd be fine with the footstep audio for the rest of the year in Warzone. Because like Warzone 2, middle of Warzone 2, the end of Warzone 2, the footstep audio really wasn't bad. There were some issues at one point, which I think they fixed, where like if somebody was on your level, you didn't hear them, but if they were slightly above or slightly below you, you would hear them clearly. But I think by the end of it, it was good, and this sounds like that now, so... yeah, BR is going to be the real test because that's when it's super frustrating if you get ran up on in Battle Royale and you die. But Resurgence, no issues at all. Seemed so much better. So much better.
That's really good to hear, and I am very interested in trying it myself. And yeah, like you said, trying it on Urzikstan. You would think that if it works well on like Vondel, though, that where there are a ton of buildings, it'll behave similarly. On big map in those buildings, you would hope. So that's really good to hear. I hope that's true. You guys can see for yourself, but I mean, Tanner and I played Resurgence after the integration before, and we will play after this patch. So like Tanner played Resurgence like 2 or 3 days ago, or maybe even yesterday. So like he has a point of comparison even post-integration to compare this to. And if it was that obvious to him, then I believe that it's better for sure. Hopefully it is better for everyone. Hopefully it remains this way. And that's really exciting. Yeah. It's hard to believe because they've never been able to figure it out, but I mean, I'll take it. Any improvement, no matter how big or small, I will take, though, because it was miserable when we last played together on Vondel. Like, it was a joke. So,
that's why we haven't been playing Resurgence. I think that was the biggest reason as to why it's felt so bad. Ashika felt infinitely better being able to hear people. So much different.
Yeah. So that's really good. So... yeah, that's it for the patch notes here. There were like 3 other bug fixes about like glitching through the map that they said they fixed. That's fine. So not much was changed, but everything that people were really complaining about and desperately wanted changed has been changed. And only those things. People were begging for weapon balance on every particular weapon that did get fixed, which is good. And they were begging to be able to hear people, which they said they fixed as well. So, fantastic. Great. And they got it in before they went out for the holiday break or whatever. This is super big. This sets the tone. This is what I would expect from Raven software also. So just a big, massive W to Raven all around. They were like, all right, we have all these things we want to do, but let's just get the really important stuff done. We'll go on break, and then we can do all the other things we want to do later. But let's like address the most pressing concerns as soon as we possibly can. And that's what they've done. So awesome.
Yeah, we may give them the okay to take a break this year. We may. We'll consider it. We'll give it some thought over the next week, but we may give them the okay to take a Christmas day off at least.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, not the whole week or anything, but they may get Christmas Day off. Yeah.
They may have earned it this holiday season, unlike the last 5 years. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. I think the only other thing they should work on now, actually, before they leave, is try to do some stability fixes. I'm still crashing. People in our Discord are still crashing a lot. That should be the next priority, because the game is probably going to be in like a totally playable and fairly balanced state as of right now. So that should hopefully come out next week before they leave. Because they'll probably be there all of next week. So we have like 7 more days basically before they're gone for 2 weeks. Yeah.
To be fair, in these patch notes, they did say they made some stability fixes and performance improvements or whatever. So maybe those are already going to be helpful for a lot of people. But
I thought they only said that for zombies or something. There's some specific. Did they say it for this?
It was in the global section.
No, they didn't. Oh, was it? Okay.
Oh, wait. No. Addressed an issue experienced by some player that caused items previously unlocked to be... Yeah, okay, so maybe they didn't.
And then there was a specific crashing issue with zombies that started when season 1
That's what launched. I was... Yeah, okay.
So they didn't.
So they didn't. Yeah, okay, so you're right. Hopefully they do that. And that is what I said, yeah. So... today's episode is brought to you by our Patreon, where we offer our members all of our episodes early access and ad-free. Starting at just $5 a month at the gold tier, patrons also get a unique Discord role, as well as 3 raw, uncensored Call of Duty bonus episodes every month, in addition to every bonus episode we've ever done in the past. With the Warzone integration and all the crazy changes that have been happening, now is a great time to join the Patreon. Our first bonus episode this month, which is currently live for all of our patrons, was a Warzone brainstorm post-integration. What perks to run, what guns to run, where to drop on the map, what your starting strategy should be when you're dropping in from the plane. Especially with all the circles being so standardized, you can really go anywhere. So we went into detail on how you should be starting your match and a lot more in that brainstorm, which is now live. If you wanted even more, you could upgrade to Platinum, which is just $10 a month. You'd get all of those things and one Q&A episode every single month where only you ask the questions or hear the answers in the form of that episode. For this month, that is also currently live, so you can listen to it right now. And if you wanted even more content, you could upgrade to the Damascus tier at $20 a month, and you get all of the other stuff and an additional behind-the-scenes episode where we go into the business side, some analytics, some personal stuff, more personal stuff than we are going to share on a public episode, and more, just everything going on behind the scenes. We also do our monthly Damascus only hangouts where we all hop in Discord, play custom games, play poker, play Scriblio, whatever. It's really fun. Do it every month. And you also get an extra special unique Discord role and a new unique Discord channel, the Damascus Lounge, which is by far the most active channel in our Discord. If you hated hearing this ad, sign up for the Patreon. As we said, every single episode our patrons listen to is completely ad-free. Let's get back to the show. Now, moving on here, we got a couple tweets as well. Raven tweeted at a time, and they said this.
This was a week ago.
About a week ago! With recent feedback and the new movement speed in mind, we've increased the distance at which buy stations will shut down in the gas to 40 meters, up from 30 meters. So now you can go 40 meters into the gas to hit a buy, and it'll still be usable instead of just 30. Good change. Solid change.
And the UI has been accurate so far. When it has said a buy station is still active, it's been active. When it says it's closed, I don't attempt it because it does look like it's too far into the gas and close.
Yeah.
That is still... If you were to play Warzone 2 a month ago, that was still not the case. Sometimes they would show up and it would act like you could hit it, and then you would go out of your way to go there and you couldn't hit it because the UI was wrong and it lied to you. So this seems to be real.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good. That's a good change. And yeah, 40 meters isn't too big. So anyway. And then we got a couple other tweets today from @COD Updates, official Call of Duty Twitter account that sometimes tweets when they update the game. The first which says, we're investigating an issue with automatic resupply causing lethal and tactical equipment loadout slots to resupply with incorrect items.
I didn't hear about this at all.
Yeah, I haven't either, but that's interesting. So, okay, they're looking into it, though.
Also, don't run resupply, right? There are 2,000 munitions boxes that spawn in the match, and you can also buy them, so don't run it.
Yeah. Next one is another investigation on an issue causing enemy redeploy notifications to not play consistently. So, I have two things to say about this. Number one, this really needs to be consistent. An enemy redeploy notification means when the announcer says enemy dropping in to the AO or whatever he says. So your fourth circle in BR in a $100,000 tournament, and Biffle buys Diaz back, and Diaz is flying in to the match with a fully automatic SVA with a 60 round mag. And he could be flying on top of you, since now you redeploy with a different gun depending on how late of the game this is. So now more than ever, I really need to know if someone's flying in on my head, because now they don't just have a starting pistol like they used to once upon a time when you were bought back. Now they could have an actual good gun that could threaten me. So that really needs to be consistent. Really bad. Number one. Number two, I haven't had an issue with this. I haven't had someone fly in on me without getting an announcer notification. So evidently it wasn't consistent, but it couldn't have been that inconsistent, because I've played a lot and I don't think I've ever got killed by someone flying in on me that I didn't get a noti for. However, I am all for even more consistency. So if they fix it further, good. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Did you have this issue?
Yeah, of course. But this is also one of those things that'll never be fixed. It's kind of just always been an issue in Warzone. It is very inconsistent. Like, how many times just playing yesterday did we hear enemy overhead or something, and you look all around everywhere and there was nobody? But then 5 minutes later, somebody would land on you and you'd get no noti, or you'd get the noti as they're 5 meters off the ground, already basically shooting.
Yeah, I guess I overstated that.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Yeah,
it's always been an issue, but it'll never be fixed. It's an issue for sure, because you're right with people coming back with like full auto guns now. But yeah, it's definitely not the worst part about the game right now. It hasn't been. The audio is the biggest issue by far. So yeah, I don't know. I'll pay attention to this more now.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes peeled.
Once they say they fix it.
Either way, it's good that they're looking into it. So I'll take it. Yeah, good little change there. So
yeah.
All right. So now we're moving on to news and upcoming changes. So we've got some content creator info here to go over first. Why don't you tell us about it?
So first one here from True Game Data, he started talking about the update today, the patch notes, and he said right away, there are changes that are not in the patch notes. So some examples, the BAS-B, for example, used to have 4 damage ranges. Now it just has 2. They didn't say anything about that. Also, BAS-B semi-auto was also nerfed, not just default fire mode, whereas usually they say that. They'll usually specifically point out, say, semi-auto or full auto, so they didn't mention that. So I don't know if the BAS-B having 2 damage ranges is making it better overall or worse. We'd have to see how that translates. I'm sure we'll get data from him soon, and we'll probably talk about that next week. That's a very good question. Then.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My guess would be it's not nearly as good up close anymore, maybe. And then that damage range just drops off at 30 to 35 meters or something. I'm not really sure what that would be, but I didn't even realize it had 4 damage ranges, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I ever looked at the stats of it, actually. I just knew it was really good.
Yeah. The biggest question for me here is, because there are 2 possible bug or feature. That's the classic Call of Duty question, the timeless Call of Duty question that we've been dealing with since modern CODs, since MW19, bug or feature, I don't know. So option one is that they intended on having only 2 damage ranges instead of 4, and they just didn't write it in the patch notes. Option 2 is they did not intend on removing 2 damage ranges, and it is a bug, and they want it to have 4 damage ranges, and that's why it's not listed in the patch notes. Yeah. Do we think this is a bug or feature? Because I think it's a bug. 2 damage ranges is really weird for an AR.
Battle rifle, yeah. I wonder what the other ones are. Let me see. See if I can pull it up and check what the other ones were.
I think most guns it's 3. But there are differences,
4
obviously.
Bass Bs on here, so I don't even know. Oh wait, he already has it on here. The new one.
Okay.
What? Yeah, I don't understand because he only showed 2 before. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever. He'll let us know and we'll talk about it next week. Maybe the one listed on the website is not the most recent. I don't know.
Yeah. But again, what do you think Raven intends on it only having 2 damage ranges? Or do you think they just messed something up?
I think it's probably more likely intentional than anything, honestly.
Interesting.
I don't know why they would do it, but
it seems weird. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I really hope it is a bug, not so much for the weapon balance of the Boss B specifically. I don't care as much about that. What I care far more about is Raven not setting a precedent of just not telling us everything. Yeah. I'm really done with hidden patch notes. Raven usually doesn't make us go through hidden patch notes. They are this time, and that makes me hope it's a bug, because the other option is that they did intend to do this, and they didn't bother to write it in the patch notes, and if we have to go through another year of that, that's going to be really annoying. So yeah. I hope it's a bug. And it's weird for it to have 2 damage ranges, but yeah, I guess we'll learn more and we'll report back to you guys. So
yeah.
But that is the only hidden patch note we found thus far. So
yeah,
at least that's something, I guess.
Yeah, and there will probably be more, but that's all we know so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on, next thing here, we have a video from TheXclusiveAce. So he was talking about hidden perks hidden perk and vest characteristics in Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. So first one, he did some testing on quick grip gloves and ordnance gloves. So quick grip gloves are the ones that make you swap weapons faster. Ordnance gloves are the ones that you throw equipment further, I believe, and it also resets the timer if like you pick up a grenade somebody threw, so you can throw it back.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
So during testing, he actually found out those also make it so you use tactical, lethals, and field upgrades faster. So like without those gloves, it's about 1.5 seconds to press the button on a frag grenade and that frag grenade to come out of your hand. That drops from 1.5 to 1 second when using these gloves. The gloves mention nothing about that. So they're actually a lot better. Is it worth running them just because they do that? No, absolutely not. But they're better than they make it sound.
Yeah.
So you use all equipment and field upgrades faster. Overkill vest. You also throw tacticals and lethals faster, just like those. You don't get a field upgrade with this vest though, but same thing. Cuts it from about 1.5 to 1 second. So that's
weird.
Interesting.
Okay.
CCT comms vest. You get 1 radar sweep when an enemy calls in a UAV. Does not mention that anywhere. This is the vest that it zooms out your mini-map for yourself and teammates. If you kill somebody and pick up their intel bag they drop on their body, you get a little sweep in that area. So it also gives you 1 radar sweep across the whole map. He didn't make it clear if that was just for you or your whole team. I would imagine it's just for you, the one using the vest. So you get 1 sweep when somebody else calls in a UAV on the other team. Not a big deal, but that's interesting. Next one, covert sneakers. You know how your character makes a lot of noise? They be yapping.
They do yap, yeah.
Covert sneakers silences almost all of that. So he showed one example. if you drop a tactical insert, as soon as you drop it, your character says something like "tech insert down" or something. If you use covert sneakers, they say nothing.
Huh.
So there are quite a few instances actually in the game where your character will just yell for no reason and it'll actually give away your position.
True.
I don't know how it works. I think like sometimes when you're like reloading randomly or low health, it'll do it. I don't really know. They need to stop yapping though. But so covert sneakers silences almost all of that.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Bone conduction headset. This is the headset that, let me actually just pull up what bone conduction actually says exactly. Let's see. It
should be at the top in our template.
Yeah. So bone conduction in game, they say reduces combat noise, allowing improved identification of enemies' footsteps and gunshots. So what it actually does, it doesn't say it in the description, but it does actually make enemy footstep audio louder. So they kind of make it sound like it's silencing ambient noise so you can hear enemy footsteps more easily, but that's not the case. They are literally just louder. So you run that, enemy footsteps do get louder while also reducing all of the ambient noise. So there's less BS you're hearing and their footsteps get a lot louder. And he showed like a little side-by-side comparison test. It is very noticeable. So bone conduction is good. It would be good if people didn't all just run covert sneakers.
Yeah.
But so there are a lot of people like wondering about that, how that worked exactly. And yes, it does make their footstep audio louder. It's not just silencing other things. And then last one here. So Ghost and Assassin Vest doesn't say anything about it in the description, but they are not immune to enemy advanced UAVs. So instead of being constantly on the radar and showing the direction you're moving for the person that, or for the team that called in the advanced UAV, they basically get a normal radar sweep, like if you were not ghosted and somebody called in a normal UAV. So they get a sweep, and so in between movement, it's not always showing you. So it shows you somewhere, doesn't show the direction you are. The radar sweeps, it shows you somewhere else on the map. So that's how that works. You're not immune to advanced UAVs. It just makes it harder to track you, essentially.
Yeah, and this is how it's worked historically, by the way.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So yeah, it doesn't say that, but that is how it works. So that's all good to know. The most interesting thing is the quick grip gloves, throwing lethals, tacticals, and field upgrades faster. That would have been good to know for my camo grind when you were doing like the 25 stun kills. Right. That would actually be really nice. I would run that, actually.
Yeah.
Because like getting 33% time off on my stun throw, pretty big deal, actually.
That is.
I do wonder how that would work with stims, the tactical. I wonder if you stim faster with quick grip gloves, overkill vest, or ordnance gloves.
That is a good question. I wish he tested that.
Because that would also make them a lot more attractive, yeah. And then another question I have is, we know that like in Warzone, there are a bunch of new perks and some perks that already kind of look like MWIII perks. I wonder if these hidden benefits apply to their Warzone counterparts that are the same, but they're just named differently. So, you know, I guess it doesn't matter for quick grip gloves since you get those automatically in Warzone. But, like Flex, that's basically bone conduction headset, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if bone conduction headset in multiplayer makes enemy footsteps louder, even though it doesn't say it does, I wonder if Flex, which is basically the same perk but in Warzone, also has that hidden benefit. That would be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if it does.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It probably does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably does.
I guess that's really the only relevant one of all of these talked about, but that's just something to keep in mind there. And then Ghost I guess would be relevant too. You can run Ghost in Warzone, and you're probably not immune to advanced UAVs. You never have been.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Did he mention that gear perk that we still don't understand, the LR detector, where you detect radiation and lasers or whatever? Did he talk about that at all?
He maybe has in a video. I haven't seen it though, but I did see somewhere it's definitely not like high alert. It is like just related to lasers. So they have to have a laser, and I still don't know what the radiation thing is. I do wonder if he's talked about that.
Yeah.
If he made a video on that, it was probably a while ago.
Yeah. Okay. But it wasn't in this video.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So that's all pretty interesting and good to know. And mainly, I think that's good for you camo grinders, or if you're just playing multiplayer, I guess that's good to know as well. That comms vest giving you a radar sweep when an enemy calls a UAV, that's actually also really nice. It's not like that big of a deal, but it kind of is though. Like in a game of Dom, how many people run UAV? Like almost everyone.
Everybody, yeah.
You know? So like I wonder how many UAV sweeps you would get in a game of Dom extra if you were running the comms vest. I would guess actually like 10, which is pretty good. It's a lot more info. It's pretty nice. It's
the only thing is, since you're getting one sweep, by the time it's like triggered in your mind that they called in a UAV, by the time you process it and you look at your mini map, the sweep's probably already done with.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah, it's probably not amazing or anything. It's not like game breaking or anything.
But if you're already like looking at your mini map, like you do a lot more in this game than MW2 or MW19, for example, then you are used to looking there a lot more often. So then you would have a pretty good chance of seeing it.
Yeah, I agree. You should be constantly looking at your mini map. So I think that's pretty good. It's good to know. So anyway, we will have that video linked for you guys in the show notes as always. If you wanted to reference it yourselves, you can go watch it over at TheXclusiveAce's channel.
According to chat, TLDR is the LR detector. It detects lasers and thermals, but it doesn't show the direction like high alert does. So you would just get like a little notification.
Okay.
Totally. If that's how it works, I mean, one of the most useless perks ever in Call of Duty.
Super
actually.
Don't use it. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple more things, and then a really exciting leak that isn't even really new at this point, but we didn't talk about it because it came out right after our last pod. So a couple of things here real quick from Charlie Intel. Modern Warfare 3 was the #1 best-selling game in the US in November. It's the #2 best-selling game of 2023, only behind Hogwarts Legacy, which of course released back in February. And so it was #2 behind that, and it came out in November.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And Call of Duty was the #2 most played game on PlayStation and Xbox in November, only behind Fortnite. So it's far from dead. It's not dead, no matter what kids on TikTok try to say to you. The game's not dead. It's not going to be dead for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then, moving on, Modern Warfare 3 was the best-selling game in November in the UK. However, sales of Modern Warfare 3 were 38% lower than Modern Warfare 2 sales in the first 3 weeks. So, according to Charlie Intel, it looks like MW3's opening month sales were higher than Cold War and Vanguard, but lower than Modern Warfare 2. So 38% lower, that's a big difference.
That is
I don't really know
difference.
why that is. If people... Maybe because for MW2, it was like Vanguard before that, it was Cold War before that, and MW19 sold really, really well, right? So people are like, oh, another like Modern Warfare game. I'm excited for this. When you get back-to-back Modern Warfare games, #1, that kind of kills the hype for it, I think. Second thing, a lot of people didn't like Modern Warfare 2. It was not the most popular game.
Yeah.
If people played Warzone on launch and they couldn't play the game because they were on a console, that person is probably not eager to buy Modern Warfare 3 when it launches, right? They're not super excited to get back in there because they knew how much of a disaster the last game was. Another thing is, yes, everybody on the internet saying, oh, it's just a DLC, it's a $70 DLC, blah, blah, it's all remastered maps. Okay, that's the other thing, so...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
It's super funny and interesting because this is, again, a perfect example of why Infinity Ward will always be the top studio. Look how much better their games sell.
Yeah.
I mean, a 38% lower, that is a massive difference. They're not hurting for cash. They still made a ton of money, but... and, this is why Infinity Ward will stay on top. People buy their games. The casuals buy their games. Whether or not they end up playing them the whole year, they like that style of game that's slow and bad, where they can sit in a corner and they can't get outplayed. So works best. for the sales, and you guys all buy the bundles because you're a bunch of idiots. So that's why they're going to keep making games like that. Their next game will also be really bad. Let's be super clear.
Yeah.
It'll be the worst COD since the last one they made, but it'll sell better than all of them. Next year's Treyarch game will probably sell worse than Modern Warfare 3, and it'll probably even be better.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, the Dropshot LLC might take a sabbatical in 2026 or whenever the next iDub game is. 2025, I guess. And just take that year off. Because it's not going to be a good game. I can tell you that now. It might be decent. It might be playable. But if Infinity Ward's in charge, unless they clean house, then it won't be good. Because Infinity Ward is not a good company. They're a bad company. They're not a development studio. They embezzle. And they get all the promotion. So, from Activision. So that's why they sell the best, among other things. Yeah. But I think Tanner's exactly right about why MW3 did not sell as well as MW2. The three reasons he listed, like, I totally agree with. The main one I was going to say is I think a lot of people were burned by MW2. So they were like, I'm not getting another Modern Warfare game. And also, I think a lot of people believed or bought into the it's just a $70 expansion pack narrative, which there is some truth to. Like, there's no original maps on launch. So like, why are you charging me a full $70? I'm not buying this. I think a lot of people didn't buy it for that reason. So, which is like fair, I guess. But again, to reiterate, this was by no means an unsuccessful video game commercially. It was still the number 2 best-selling game in the United States in the entire year. And it came out.
And it came out in the last 30 days of the year. Yeah.
So that's
50 days, something like that.
That's insane. So to be clear, it was not a flop by any means, but yeah, it didn't hit MW2's numbers, which is not surprising at all. So,
there's also a free Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer is live right now, so that'll probably get them some more sales too. Maybe people will try it out. They say, "Oh, this game's actually really fun," and then they'll buy it because it's on sale.
I'm sure it will. And to one other kind of thing, if you're hearing this and you're disappointed, you're thinking, well, if MW2 sold more, then Activision is going to make the developers make MW2 decisions when they're developing their next game because all they want is money. You might be thinking that, and you would be smart to think that, because in a vacuum, that is of course true. The publisher is going to tell the devs to make decisions that the publisher thinks is going to make them the most money. So you might be like, dang, that's a shame MW3 didn't sell as well, because that means they're not going to be likely to make those types of decisions, development decisions, that they did for MW3 since it didn't sell as well. However, I think what's going to be interesting to see, which we don't have data on yet, is how microtransaction sales for MW3 are compared to microtransaction sales for MW2. I would be very surprised if they didn't make more money on microtransactions this year than they did last year. And Activision will take note of that when they have their next game in development. And they'll say, okay, MW3 sold fewer boxes on launch, but there were reasons for that. And throughout the year life cycle, we actually made more money on MW3 microtransactions than we did on MW2. So maybe we should go the development route of MW3. Longer TTKs, fast movement, communicating with the player base, writing patch notes, having a development studio make the game instead of an embezzling psyop ring called Infinity Ward, etc. So don't lose too much faith just by hearing these numbers. I really want to hear the microtransaction numbers. Do you think there will be more microtransactions this year than last? Am I coping? Because I think there will be. I'm buying microtransactions again, by the way. I'm buying things again. I support this game, so I buy microtransactions. Not black sell, to be clear. Never black sell, never once. But I do buy microtransactions. I'm buying COD points again because the boycott is over, because now the game is actually fun.
Because Warzone is saved. Yeah, COD
Exactly.
Is saved, yeah.
I'm speaking with my wallet. I encourage all of you to do the same. This is why I didn't buy microtransactions all of last year. The game wasn't good or fun. So I'm hoping there are a lot of other people like me. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm more likely to buy stuff. It also, I don't know how it works with all the studios working together. Who makes the bundles? Because Infinity Ward does also make the best bundles, you know? So if it's them making them all year long, then I'm probably more likely to spend money in this game because the game's fun and they make good bundles. They do. They really do. There were times I wanted to buy a lot of things in MW2, but I refrained, right? Because the game sucked.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much just what it comes down to me. I'm not just going to buy stuff because it's there. I still only buy select things that I really like, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, Infinity Ward makes good items. So I'm very likely to buy things this year. I haven't yet. I don't even think I've looked at the store actually, but usually the first season, there's not a whole lot of good bundles coming out yet anyways. It's usually like season 2 and later. It seems like we get the real bangers. But yeah, I'm definitely willing to spend money this year.
Yeah.
I didn't for the last year.
And yeah, and hopefully, and again, like if the player count is higher and more engaged, we covered this like 2 weeks ago, that article where like player engagement has been really insane and record breaking because with MW3. If that continues, that would lead to more microtransactions. More people playing the game is how you get more microtransactions. So hopefully that's true. And hopefully that signals to Activision they are making good game design choices and they're being rewarded for it. That's what I want. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So last little item here. Let's see what this is. It appears to be an article from insider-gaming.com.
Whoa.
Tom Henderson. All right.
Okay.
It's exclusive. Original Call of Duty Warzone map. Verdansk is set to return in 2024.
What?
Are you serious?
Wow.
Insider Gaming has learned that Warzone's original map, Verdansk, is set to return by the end of 2024. Details are still unclear on the exact release date of the map, but it's understood that the current plan is to follow the traditional Warzone main map release schedule and have Verdansk return as part of Black Ops Gulf War Season 1, which is Treyarch's game next year. Wow. If they continue their annual trend of a late October, early November release, it suggests that Verdansk is set to return in December. COD fans will be familiar with Verdansk. I've seen several changes since the map's original release, generally seeing major changes during its seasons of content. It's unclear which season the map will be based on. One source implied that it will be a fan favorite season, but the exact details are murky. I don't even know what that would be.
Okay, so I am offline at this time. We had a technical difficulty here in the studio. My internet cut out. So I'm just going to record the rest of this episode by myself. This was our last piece of coverage for the ep anyway, so we got the bulk of it already done. And we were just talking about this article from Insider Gaming, which luckily I pulled up just in time before my internet went out, so I can keep reading here. We were talking about, let's see, where were we? It's unclear which season the map will be based on. One source implied that it will be a fan favorite season, but the exact details are murky. So yeah, Tanner was saying his theory is the most popular season was Verdansk 84, which was a good season. Where exactly we'll get Verdansk, I'm unclear, but it's definitely going to be the later stage Verdansk. We're not going to get Verdansk back when the stadium was closed, or there were other big changes, but I would expect, probably Verdansk 84 is what we're going to get back, which would be good. That would be solid. There were a lot of additional POIs and things like that kind of added to the game by then. And it would also be cool to get Verdansk in 2024, because that would probably be Verdansk with balloons, Verdansk with horizontal zip lines. That would be really fun. And Verdansk never had water. So maybe, God willing, we won't have to deal with water in Warzone for that year. I would take it. So hopefully there would be some other changes, but just for nostalgia's sake, it wouldn't be terrible going back to Verdansk. I would take it. And I would just, again, stay out of downtown and promenade. But it did have some redeeming qualities. But we'll see. By the way, a ton of people have been commenting on the veracity of this article. This did leak like right after our last news episode. So this is pretty old now, unfortunately. But when it did leak, and this is again from Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, one of the only reputable Call of Duty leakers by our estimation. When this did leak, it was immediately corroborated by like every other leaker on the timeline. So I think it is very likely that this is true. And we even said ourselves when Verdansk went away, at some point we're getting Verdansk back. I don't know when, I don't know where, but it will come back to Warzone. There's no way they don't capitalize on that. So yeah. Going back to the article here, a couple other things. In November 2023, Windows Central reported that this year's COD will be based on the Gulf War, with Insider Gaming corroborating that report and understanding the working title for the game is Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War. This, again, I've seen a lot of people to abuse this word now, corroborating. The next Black Ops is going to be Gulf War, which is like 90s, which I'm fine with as a skin, as an era for a game. It's, you know, no better or worse than the Cold War era, I guess. And especially with how they handled Cold War, allowing you to put a bunch of modern attachments on guns, or even Vanguard, where we're in the 40s using, you know, telescopic thermal optics. Like, okay. It's probably not going to feel that much different based on the era, but yeah. The report also outlined that Activision could be taking a slightly different approach to this year's title, with the company considering more incentivized pre-order bonuses. One such pre-order bonus currently being explored is the idea of weeks of early access to its zombies mode, and we already did cover that leak, rather than the 1 week early access for campaign that we've seen these past couple of years. This would also be really cool. Depending on what the zombies mode entails, this would be really fun to play as a little pre-order bonus, just like getting early access to the campaign. I would definitely take that. And then following these reports, Charlie Intel revealed that Gulf War will be the first COD title to have a 4-year development cycle. Wow. Since the franchise's inception over 2 decades ago, Call of Duty titles have been developed between 16 months and 3 years. So this would also have the longest development cycle of any COD ever made. And it would be by Treyarch. Treyarch got the short end of the stick for all of its past games since BO4. So this is going to be the first Treyarch game where they were actually given a full development cycle, and it turns out even more than a full development cycle to make the game. So I would expect a lot of polish, a lot of that cool customization, and, you know, oh my goodness, what was it called? The challenge system, Dark Ops challenges. I would anticipate we're getting all of those things back and a lot more, given how much time they've had to make this, according to this leak. So that's all very good to see. I'm very excited about it, but you know what? I'm also having fun with MW3 and Warzone right now. So hopefully the game is fun until Verdansk comes out, until Gulf War launches, and then the game continues to be fun after that. That would be fantastic. I would be all for it, obviously. So that's it, boys and girls. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed. Sorry for the technical difficulties. My internet is still out, but we will be back on Saturday with Resurgence, First Impressions. Be there. Patreon.com/thedropshot. That's it. Stay humble.